Okay. Well, I'm sure people will hop on. We are testing out a different time slot than normal. We've been doing a lot of Thursday midday calls for the team, and there's been a lot of asks for mixing it up, some evening stuff for people that are at work. And so here we go. We're gonna try this out. And how's everyone doing today?
Good.
How's your Monday? What does your Monday look like, ladies, leaders specifically, or anyone? Like, how do you set up your week on a Monday?
Mm.
Do you do anything special? Is it
Do you
just
want
like,
us to
hey,
chat or like hear loud or in the chat?
here, loud, unmute. Yeah, let's just have a conversation.
I So sometimes for me, Mondays end up being a sort of like catch up a little bit with Life Day because our weekends are really busy with kids and youth sports right now. But I try really hard not to make that consume my entire Monday. um, but mine tend to be like advocate check-ins, sending out Mondays tend to be the day that I also send out thank you cards to my customers that placed an order. And then my goal is to have them ship by the end of the week because I have to give myself that flexibility. Um, but I try to like do a lot of business, like things that I think could be easy to push by the wayside, but are really impactful in terms of relationships.
I love that. Good reminder to write thank you cards too.
I think it just sort of sets my mind space in the right space for the week, like set myself and reminding myself like the heart and soul of our business.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. What about Lindsay or Kim or Melissa or Tina?
So I am also a sports mom and my weekends are wild. So Monday mornings, I don't do a whole lot of anything until after 10 a.m. So I will go for a walk or do some kind of movement, really kind of focus on me. Living in Arizona, I'll be outside in the sun, get my kids off to school, and I'll just like spend some time focusing on me. And then after like 10 or 11, I'll shift and I have some calls that I have to be a part of. And then I will just kind of follow up with people from the week from Friday because I usually will do some things on Friday. And then um what else do I do on Mondays? I feel like I did. I'm like, let me look at my list. But that's just, I mean, it's the morning. I try to take it really slow on Mondays because it's just such a wild weekend, which is super nice to do.
I love that you fill your cup up first so that you can really get centered and focused. Artina, the question was, how does your Monday look as like for your business? Is there anything special you do specifically to set your week up, intentionally? Or is it like every other day? Does it all kind of blend in? Is there something special you do on a Monday to start your week?
Yes. So I run two other businesses. And so, most of it is done from home. Like I have a corporate leasing business and I have housing um and then aside from that, I wholesale and flip mobile homes. So Mondays with the park managers are super busy, so I don't really get a chance to focus on this until later in the evening, but I call it like my structured 2 hour power hour where this is the only thing that I focus on. And so today I just, because I'm working my business via social media, kind of planned out what my real content is going to look like for the week. Um, I went in and just worked on some graphics because I share a lot of stuff in my stories. Um, and then usually, because I'm fairly new, so trying to get into the swing of things. But I said that Monday afternoons, Tuesdays and Thursdays would be the day that I like just really lock in and just sit down and the kids know like, hey, mommy's like doing this for 2 hours straight. So that kind of keeps me focused. And then when the alarm goes off, I have to stop because I will keep going and going and going. I did create a list today of everyone who's just kind of reached out either to be nosy or to check on me or whatever. And I've kind of flipped that conversation into, just what I'm doing. But I make a note every single day to post something about the business on my social media, on my stories, like every single day on repeat, and I run it like a commercial. So I'll even recycle posts from like Friday. I'll say, hey, let me run this back because I know a lot of you didn't see it, so here we go. And I'll even say, if you saw what I'm about to post next, just skim on through to the next post. But and then I'll say, back to our regularly scheduled programming. I'll say something like that, but they know like there's going to be a time where this is what the next few stories are going to be about.
I love that. I love that there's a social media plan and we talked at leadership about time blocking a little bit, and like that's a perfect example of how you block your time. All right, we'll jump into kind of the meat and potatoes of tonight's topic, but I thought it would be a fun way to pull back the veil. I think all of us have been doing this for a minute, are gonna have a routine, especially on Mondays, right? Or a flow, an ebb and flow of your week. I know there's like, for me, I don't do anything else on Mondays. And that doesn't mean I sit at my computer and I work all day, but I don't schedule doctor's appointments on Mondays. That's my one day off from like the barn. Like I make like that for me, like that's the one day I know I'm gonna just have here without distractions, because I know once I leave my house on an errand, it might be 3-5 hours before I'm back again. And then my whole day's been thrown off. So whatever works, and it's all gonna look different, right? Whatever works, what's worked for you. But we wanted to come in today and share a little bit about leadership. So about a week delayed, but I was really ill last week, and we just kind of all had there was a lot going on in the Hue and Grace world last week. As we wrapped up a month, we kicked off another one. We had some extra trainings, and formulator call for the 5-in-1 cleaner finally happened. So if you missed any of that, you can scroll through the Hue and Grace Advocates page, the official Facebook page for the Hue and Grace Advocates. There's a lot of all that stuff's generally streamed live into there, so you can catch up on that. But now it's time we're pivoting into launching the body butter, almost said body polish, the body butter later this month. We have a really fun sleep campaign this month. There's so much going on. This business is growing so fast, largely thanks to our team. But before we kind of get lost in the not February anymore, March madness, we're wanting to dog care. Like Artina said, walk it back to our, to revisit where we just kind of came from. And we had an amazing retreat. Hue and Grace had their leadership retreat for senior mentors and above. And it was a lot of our first time meeting Sarah and Ben, meeting Kelly and Amanda, meeting one another. And then especially meeting the rest of this amazing advocate community. So it was our first like in the flesh, experience to kind of like be in each other's energy space and just see what this, there's a lot you can experience and absorb through a computer, but we all know that is nothing compared to like the energy in a room, right? So we thought we would share a little bit of our experiences and just kind of offer our thoughts. But also we want to know, what do you want to learn about? What questions do you have? So put it in the chat. And we'll touch on it if there's anything specific, and there's no question there's no bad question. So even if it's something that seems silly, like put it in the chat, we'll make sure to get to it. But we're just this is more kind of a conversational, anecdotal, because I think that was really the biggest takeaway, was just the feeling of it all. So who wants to go first? Anyone feeling? Sorry, I've said so much dog hair in my mouth right now. I don't know why. Courtney, go ahead.
I can go, only just in case there's a reason I have to drop off at all with some kids still awake. But so I was so excited to go this past week, last week, was because I'm such a connections person. Like I love to be in front of people. I love to get to know people and just like have face-to-face conversations. So it was such a great opportunity to be able to do that. And then like 2 weeks prior to the event, I had gotten asked if I would speak on a panel to share about some like social media practices or just like give some tips and tricks without it being like so necessarily technical, but just like how you share these products and how you connect with other people side. And that was like such an honor because I will say that in my 10 years, my previous company, not once was I ever asked to speak on a panel in front of a group. I mean, which I'm really not a person that craves the stage. Like I'm usually, well, I'm very extroverted. I'm totally fine sitting in the back of the room and observing. Like I'm such a watcher and observer too. So it never bothered me that I wasn't asked. But in the same breath, it was like, I've earned a seat at the table. Why have I never been asked to share any feedback? As a coach that had been there for 10 years, had checked off all the boxes that, were moving my business forward and growing a team. It was hard to be seen. So it was really, I felt like such an honor and like it was such a privilege to be asked to do this in, a nice smaller group setting, but also like that I had been seen for my efforts, that I had, done the things that aligned with exactly what they wanted us to share. So, I think it's okay for you to acknowledge along the way that, it feels good to be seen, right? Like, not that it's like the thing that you're constantly seeking or needing, but feels really good to be called out and shared to do something that's within like your strength wheelhouse, right? Or maybe it's not within your strength wheelhouse and it stretches you, but it still gives you the opportunity to share knowledge that you clearly have on topics that you can give like pass forward, pass them, because I love teaching and I love helping other people find success. So that really just like got me a little out of my comfort zone and full of like a room of like a third of the group that I either knew in person or I was meeting for the first time, but that was like my little comfort zone, right? And then the other 2/3 of the room being women that I was just meeting for the first time. But I didn't once like question my value of like, I hope I'm good enough to deliver this. Just being able to deliver it in a way that was very authentic to me. And, it was great to hear the other women's. We did it like kind of like a round table. They'd given us questions and then told us which ones we'd be answering. So we knew what we'd be answering. But it was fun to kind of work with that group ahead of time and just like have those conversations prior to stepping into a room with them. So my takeaway was just knowing that this is a company that is seeing the things that you're doing, right? They notice. So we're a nice small company on the rise and growing, but it feels so good to be here at a point where everybody's efforts are really noticed. And those of you that are newer to the business or even been around for the last, I guess we're all pretty new to the business, right? The most anyone's been here is what, Jamie, 5 months. So we're all pretty new to the business, but meaning like if you signed this week, like you might be like, oh my God, like my advocates would be like, oh my gosh, I got a call from Kelly McVeigh, and it's like, yes, they notice that you're here and they're excited that you're here. And it's just like those little things. And so that is my takeaway, is just noticing all the little things that just like really fill your cup, because at the end of the day, you have to fill your own cup, but it also feels really good when other people ask you, like elevate you in leadership, and fill your cup a little bit too.
I love that. And there is something really powerful in being seen, especially when, we all were very successful in our businesses and our careers with Beachbody, and a lot of times didn't feel very seen. So I think that's something that is definitely a superpower. I don't know, would you guys agree, of Ben and Sarah, of just like making sure we know that we're valued in so many ways, and like not just the leaders. Like I think the fact that Kelly calls every advocate is because they want you to like recognize that from day one. So Kim, do you want to share next?
Sure. So what I took away from is like, I'm an introvert, and like, I was like freaked out about like staying at the house. And I literally almost was like, well, I'm going to go rent a hotel just in case, like plan B. But I can tell you, it was lovely. It was a lovely experience. And I really didn't know, even though everybody was like from Beachbody at our house, I didn't know everybody. And like, my nervous system I'm very in tune with, and it was not stressed. And most of Beachbody events that I've gone to in the past, I've always left early because my nervous system is just like done. Like I just can't wait to fly home. And we were all having lunch before like we went on our various planes, and I was like, I'm like enjoying myself. I don't want to leave. And then when we went to the party at 5 on Friday, I sat down and I realized that I had sat down with everybody that I knew. And I was like, I don't know if that's the best thing to do. And so like I literally got up, which is really big for me, and I started mingling with people, and people were friendly and they were like, I know you, I see you on social media, and like just super kind. And such great like energy in the room. Like Ben said, he said like energy brings like energy. And I think that that's kind of why we are all here. And, one of the things that I notice about Sarah is she's just very, like, she'll sit with you and she does mostly listening. Like, I don't know if I've ever met somebody who listens as much as she does. And she's very, like, personal. Like, she'll touch you on the knee, or she'll touch you on the shoulder, or she, like, the emotional intelligence of both of them is actually really interesting. And I kind of look to them to do that, but I noticed they gave that same attention to everybody that was there. And then the last takeaway I would have is, I'm hoping my computer doesn't let me just plug my computer in, sorry. We had recognition awards, and I actually did not know we were going to have recognition there, and it was based upon the last, I guess, 3 months. And one of the things I loved is that they recognize everything that would be something that is truly moving the needle in the business. And so it wasn't like, here's your top 10. It wasn't like, here's your top 5. And then in fact, they gave out leadership awards for attributes like, integrity and working. And then they made up some other awards, based upon like social media and stuff. And, Craig taught me a long time ago that whatever I want to grow in my business, I have to make sure I recognize and water. And I think that they did a really great job of that. And I know as somebody like myself who has been like the top seller, it was starting to like, I think, pressure me. And I was starting to wonder like, well, if I don't show up as number one, like, does that mean I'm like not good enough? And whatever. And so I was actually grateful that the way they did the leadership awards, they actually brought into our award, our recognition, at the first of the month, where they just do it like by PV, because everybody is working their business at different places, and they should be recognized, and they are recognized. And so I think this company just does a lot in making sure that you're seen. And I think that as somebody who is a high achiever, I think that sometimes when you're only seen by your achievements, it starts to like mess with your head, and it starts to make you think like, okay, well, like, is this all they care about and whatever? And so that's been my takeaways for sure.
I love that. I agree with all of that for sure. I want to say, Melissa, I feel like you should go next.
Okay,
Ayla.
I'll go.
Okay.
Mine's very short. Sorry, I just got out of the shower. For me, it was how peace-filled it was. It wasn't stressful. I am very much an introvert, like very, very much an introvert, to the point where I almost didn't want to get on the plane because I knew nobody. I had never met anybody except for Carrie Legault ever before. And I knew people from social media and from Beachbody because I was there for 12 years. And so I knew people, and I get very intimidated also working on that. So I was super intimidated going in. But it was just so welcoming. The people, not just the people from Beachbody Past, but from the Hugh and Grace, the original Hugh and Grace crew, they welcomed all of us as if we had been there forever. And so that's a testament to Sarah and Ben as well. So for me, staying at the house, I was super nervous because, again, introvert. I knew I'd have to share a bed. But Courtney was very gracious in that, so that was nice. So the team was welcoming, the corporate people were welcoming, everybody was fantastic. So it's just a true testament to who we are as a company. Courtney.
I think that was one of the things I kept hearing from like other people, other women there from other teams. They're like, wait a minute, you guys weren't all on the same team? Like you didn't know each other before? Like we're like, well, we knew each other, but we were not on the same team. No. Like, and they were like no one could really wrap their brains around that, which I thought was pretty cool because it's like, no, we were peers, we were colleagues, we were friends, we had mutual, we were like professional respect and love for each other. But it wasn't like someone said, hey team, come with me to this. Like not, I think a lot of us haven't really had our teams largely come with us here and haven't like tried to bring them here. Or like, you know, if you come, that's great. But like, I just think it speaks to the testament of this, of what we have to offer here, you know, of like really just looking at finding like that alignment. I don't know what's happening in the chat, but I'll look really fast. But and I think that it's refreshing to know, like, I don't know, has anyone else gone on a trip for work or just where you don't know a lot of people and you're like filled with anxiety and nerves and like apprehension? You're like, shoot, hopefully maybe I'll get COVID before I go. So I can't come or something like that. Like, and just so you know, you're not alone in that. I'm definitely an introvert as well. Like I have to really prepare myself mentally to be extroverted for a couple of days. And like, so those of you who don't know the flow of the weekend, so we started on Friday night. So we got it early, and the way it worked with housing this time, and who knows how it'll work out in the future, but we had 14 people from our team there from our team. So 14 of the 50, 60 that were there were us, which I thought was incredible. And then we had so many people, they had to kind of give us our own house because we couldn't fit anywhere with another team. So they gave us some money to get an Airbnb. So with this huge ranch style home with chickens, and there was a horse training facility across the street. We're like in the country, but not really. We're kind of like in a little country compo area, like 5 minutes from this huge, like almost like an MTV kind of house. Like I feel like it was maybe like used for like the real world one day, but that was where Hugh and Grace hosted their the actual event. And one of the teams stayed there at that house, and then they had a big tent in the backyard, and the Hugh and Grace RV was there in the backyard. And then we just kind of the food was in the kitchen, and there was like an arcade room. We didn't really spend much time, but we were mostly under the tent at this. They had a pop-up tent with round tables and stuff. Tortoise. But there was a tortoise there too, at the house. And then so we did a little team photo shoot. I'm anxious for those photos to come back from the photographer. We did that right before the cocktail party. And then we just kind of kicked off Friday night. They did some teasing of product announcement kind of stuff. We did a really fun exercise. One of the things I love about Ben and Sarah is they come from this like big business background, right? So they're bringing in like from networking groups and like, you know, professional development stuff. So we did a little round robin, like mixed us up and got us out of our comfort zone. And then, yeah, the backyard was you can unmute Court if you want. It was like, there was like fire pit and like a pool. Was there a pool? No. Was there a pool? My brain is saying there was one, but now I'm not picturing it.
Yes,
There was like a pool house kind of gazebo thing. And then just a huge yard and a basketball court. And we didn't really hang out there much, but we didn't really have a lot of downtime. It was like a lot of go, go, go. And then Saturday, everyone woke up really early. Not everyone, I didn't do it, but a lot of people woke up really early and hiked up Camelback Mountain, which is like a double black diamond straight up hike for, and it was it was. I don't know that the hike was relaxing, but it was like a really big accomplishment feat. So you probably saw a lot of pictures of the hike. And then everyone came back, rinsed off, and then we spent the bulk of Saturday, all of Saturday. It was a long chunk of time at the, in workshop mode. We did some presentations. That was when Courtney was on the social media panel. Amy Coppola gave a little, a big talk, not a little talk, like a big talk on, leading through challenging personalities and personality styles. I got to speak on a director's panel, and then there's some training, and that was when Justin Prince was there, and we did a bunch of like kind of journaling, like just intro version time where we were like really looking at I think I've heard Sarah quote this a few times, but my favorite Spider-Man quote is, "With great privilege comes great responsibility." And so it was a lot of like really looking at what is our privilege and responsibility here, and how do we want to bring this company to the next level. There was a product testing, a potential product testing that was kind of fun to be in on. There was like 2 versions of it, and the formulator was there, and he did a little training. I don't know if that will see the light of day, but it was fun to be part of like that early stages of Kim's talk. Kim, do you want to tell us what's going on? You can tell.
So he was just prodding me to out. And it was supposed to be like, make you like all like, more like loving and all this. And you could feel that, except for we all got horrible gas. So we were all really gassy, and some of us actually went to the bathroom. So they were like, I don't know if we're gonna continue with this.
They're like, yeah, you can tease it. Totally. Everyone can tease it on social media. And then like they got the feedback a few hours later, and they're like, everyone take down your social media posts. It's really funny. We could see people were like sitting up, and then they would eventually just like, everyone was kind of like trying to get their like stomach stretched out. It was kind of funny. I had no idea what was happening though until like later, and then I realized, oh, everyone's feeling this way. So yes. Yeah, it was Danielle was making me laugh when she was telling me how she was feeling. And then let's see. And then we did dinner, they did some all the recognition awards, and that was really fun. Did a bunch of photos. And then once we kind of like we're all done, I think no one left. We all just stood around mingling, talking by the fire pit, taking pictures. We realized we were like all done, and then went back to the house, played games, and the next morning just like hung out and spent more time with each other. A few of us went to the Fairmont for lunch, and it was just we didn't want it to kind of end, which was really, like Kim said, it was nice to like not feel like we were running, like my cup was too full, like or too empty that I needed to like go get home. But that was kind of like the overview of the whole time. Linz, do you want to share your experience?
Yes. I think I'm one of the only ones who actually did not get sick from said product. I was so confused, but I felt so bad for you guys. For whatever reason, it did okay with me. But I was like most of you guys, where I was like, I don't know any of you guys. I just know you from social media, and I could stay at home. I live like not too far. And Jamie was like, no, come stay at the house. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll stay Friday. She's like, no, you can stay Saturday too. Like, it was very uncomfortable in the beginning because I didn't know anybody and I had no idea what this was going to be like. So like the rest of you have said, same thing going into the event, I was very nervous. And I thought it was so strange that I had never ever met you guys in all the years we were at Beachbody. I was like, how did we never connect? But that leads into like another thing that I observed, that when we would go to a leadership or an event, and like, don't get me wrong, the company was large, but it was different to comfortably walk up to someone and have a conversation. And I'm like introverted extrovert. So like once I know you, like the extrovert's coming out. But in the beginning, I'm like, I don't know if I don't know if she's coming out. And so it was super cool to not feel any sort of way about going up and talking to anybody, from those who've been with the company to any of you guys that I had just met. So that was something that was really cool. And then the other thing that stood out to me that is very different and unique that they do, it's always been my mission since whatever 2011, however long I've been out here doing this, to support and help moms learn how to build income online so they can create a life around the kiddos, and to see their kids like come in at the end and know, like, I was so curious. I'm like, I wonder if they're around. I wonder if they stayed somewhere. I wonder, I was super curious. And I thought that was super cool. And they they're so family friendly. Like they invited my husband to come have dinner and meet everybody. And so that was something that just stood out to me, that is super unique, especially when it's like big on my heart for helping other moms out here. And then I feel like I had one more thing that might be. That was it. That was it.
I love it. I was trying to share a picture, but my Zoom is not letting me share a funny photo. Let me see if it will, just a second. Danielle, do you want to share? I saw you were on. I didn't get permission ahead of time to put you on the spot, so sorry. But if you want. All right, let me see if I can. Why is it making me give? Oh, maybe it's because I need to. Sorry, my Zoom. I said I have to restart it. Okay, we won't be sharing a photo, but there was a really cute photo of Grace and Pippa, my little dog. That was adorable, and I thought everyone would love it. So I'll share it in the team page. But Pippa did come and become the Hugh and Grace mascot, and she loves her Auntie Kim like a lot. All right, are there any questions about the weekend? We wanted to share this because we just thought it was we all kind of just got this affirmation from being there of like, yes, this feels right, which we already did feel like that, but I think that there's that, I don't know, I like anytime if you spend too much time with someone online and then sometimes you meet and like the energy doesn't line up, you're like, if you ever met someone where you're like, well, that isn't even what you look like in real life, because they're so heavily, like there's just only so much that can translate through a screen. And so just getting that confirmation, that affirmation in person, that like we all, Sarah texted earlier, she's like, I just love how much your team loves each other. I'm like, we really do. Just like there's no drama. Like we just really get along. And the other picture I wanted to share was of the rest of our, let's see. Oh wait, is it gonna let me do it? Hold on. Well, I think it will let me. This. Can you see in the chat? There's a picture there of like our bigger team, our bigger upline team with Kirsty and Tammy and Jen and their teams, and they were part of like a bigger team, and they're just so lovely and part of this community as well. And it just felt like just so many confirmation from the universe and just the people that like, yes, this is the right place, and we are perfectly positioned at the perfect time to really help take this company to the next level. And I just feel like we're really lucky next time, Danielle says, next time hubby is storing next to her. So perfect. But they did talk a lot about like our roadmap in terms of some really fun, and they kind of already covered all this on the New Year call. So our not new month call on the 1st, but like we've got this Glow to Sleep campaign where we're looking at the PM supplement, the, night serum, the lip mask, wash out, like just we can really start promoting like healthy sleep awareness. And I know a lot of us have said that PM supplement's kind of this unsung hero and doesn't get the love it deserves in the routine. So it's our chance to really like show our audience that there's more than only the routine, and also kind of dipping their toes in the skincare line, which I think is also really powerful. That body butter from the Blue Tansy, which we all love the Blue Tansy smell, right? Like that will be coming later in the month on a pre-launch. And then did they talk about this on the 1st, but the April? No, we'll talk about, because we have pictures that we're allowed to share about on social, so we'll share it with you guys. But we're doing like a spring cleaning kind of focus in April with a really cool disposable, multi-use but disposable paper towel, like a reusable paper towel offering that like one of these replaces 15 rolls of paper towels. Is that right? It was like one of these replaces 15 rolls of paper towels, which is like 15 rolls of paper towels, one of these, which I think is amazing. And so it continues to like help with our mission for, just being earth minded and environmentally conscious. It can be washed in the top rack of your dishwasher. Yeah. And then they're printed with two lovely, like if someone has one in their phone and wants to drop in the chat, but one says dream big on it and one says welcome home. So it'll be a really nice, fun spring launch for like yet another product, which is like boom, boom, boom. We've got collagen sticks, then we'll have the 5-in-1 cleanser, we've got the body butter, then the paper towels for the home line. Totally. Yes. Do you want to share some where you always have a good your wheels are always spinning there. Court, do you want to share?
Yeah, so it really complements the cleaning kit. I mean, of course, there's a use for these everywhere, but I think it can be a really great, like, if you've got people using the cleaning set, like in my brain, they're your first contacts, right? Like, hey, look at this great product. Because it just, I like that we're starting to expand that home vertical, because we have the cleaning kit, which is fantastic, but like there's a long list of other home items that I'm sure other people are like chomping at the bit for, but the towels will complement the cleaning kit really well. So realtors, I know early on somebody had shared like approaching your realtor friends about, a welcome home kit. Well, one says welcome home and one says dream big. So the cleaning set plus the 2 towels. And I think I had asked Sarah what the price point would be, but I'm like totally blanking on what she said, but it was very like affordable. So they can kind of pair together. And I'd already reached out to my realtor because I had given her a cleaning set to try to see if it was something that she thought would be a great complement to like what she already does for her clients. And so I'm sure she'll love adding the towels in, because it just gives like some good texture, some graphics, like, it has that very clean look like all of our products do. They're white with black writing. And then teachers too, right? Like, I don't know how many of you get emails from teachers like, hey, I'm out of Lysol wipes and everything, and like my hair like stands up all over my body, but I get that those are like quick and easy for them to be able to pull and use, but like so could cleaning spray and the towels. So I thought that could be a really fun like teacher gift, and even if they wanted to use it at home, but like they could certainly bring it into their classroom. So I don't know, I feel like that's an uphill battle to fight, but could certainly have some influence there.
Oh, and Tammy put it in the chat, so you guys can see in the chat. They just look so nice.
Yeah.
I'm excited for these. Oh, there's more coming through. And welcome home. Oh, I love it. Thank you.
And if you've never used these before, they are really great. I used to have like a auto ship from like that Papaya brand, and they are fantastic.
And I think we can just anticipate that more and more will keep rounding out these three verticals that we have. So the skincare, we just got 2 additions to that, the wellness. Will hopefully be the next one we beef up a little bit. So we're excited to see what happens there. And then I know that there's a lot more in the pipeline for the home too. I just don't know how far we are in that down that road. So anyways, that was kind of our goal for tonight, was just to share any questions, thoughts, excitement, curiosities. You can unmute. You don't have to type, Rita. No.
I was just gonna say thanks so much for sharing. I was just really curious about what your weekend was like.
It was really fun. I was fighting a cold the whole time, so I felt like I was a little bummed about that. But otherwise, I still had a lot of fun. And it was just it was so good to get to give hugs, and there was so much laughter in that house. Like the house was full of laughter. The whole like tent was full of laughter too. Lots of big personalities, which was really fun. Like I loved it. I loved like Amber Blair. Hopefully y'all get to meet Amber Blair. Like she was like a firecracker. Like everyone had like their own just so high energy and so fun, and just a lot of love. There was a lot of love for each other. Like you could see a lot of the deep friendships that already existed, and it felt good to be embraced in that. Yeah, we'll see what happens with the cacao. Some tweaking needs to happen for sure. But it was fun just to be part of that like early stage. It was very early. It was like, this is like the raw outline of an idea concept. This is not the final product. This is the concept. And it was a good concept. So I'm sure they'll keep punting that down the line until we get somewhere good with it.
Well, and that was kind of like, I was going to just say that, Jamie, like that was the whole point of us like tasting it. Like it's in the early stages of development. Cause somebody had asked me today, like, I was like, they didn't give us a timeline for like when this would be something. And they didn't even necessarily say this would definitely be something. It was just like, hey, we've got a bunch of leaders in the room. Let's educate them on cacao. Let's help them understand how the things are sourced and let them try the beginning stages of what's happening. So it's like, I'm sure every product starts this way, right? And I'm sure lots of products.
In a room full of willing guinea pigs.
Yeah, right. That, used to spending a lot of time together. So like bloating and gas is just no big deal.
Yeah.
Two other things that I noticed was it really wasn't like a fashion show either. I don't think people like really like Carrie and I were like joking that like we didn't do like our roots. We just like used like the root thing. So it wasn't like a fashion show. And also it was I feel like other events, like everybody's like making reels and like taking pictures and nobody is present. Everybody was present. So I think that was a big deal too.
I noticed that too. I loved that it was like, yeah, if you were talking to people, you were talking to people. Like it's always good when, we need content for our jobs, of course. So like there's still that, but like when you like just don't even, when you end an event and you're like, shoot, I didn't get all the pictures I wanted to get, or like Courtney and I have a list of reels. We did 0 of them, like zero, we had like, there were so many.
Oh, we have a whole folder. I mean, Kim and I did too. And it's like, it's not that we didn't really have time to do them. We just like our mindset was very different over there. Like it had less to do about like, look at me. And like, just, I want to be here and now. Like these can all come later, but we would have missed out on so much had we spent all of our time in our phone making reels.
Yeah. And I think that there's something really special to be said of like, and it's not just, this wasn't the only time, like, I think these next couple years in this company are like these precious years that I do think that we'll look back on in not so many years, right? And be like, gosh, remember when it was so intimate and small and like we had face-to-face time and it was like we could all fit under one tent together or in one house together or whatever. And like, I would just encourage everyone to like fight to get in that room. Like, so while like, so you have that, like, I think what a special foundation and memory we have, which I think is none of us were at Beachbody back in I mean, I'm sure Beachbody had that season too, long time ago, right? Like, I wasn't around long enough but it was long before when I came. And so I'm sure like I'm gonna treasure this season that we're in with Hugh and Grace, knowing that, in a blink of an eye, we're gonna be huge. And like I'm thankful to get to be here now. And I want you all to be in that space, in that room with us, to like really hold on to that memory too.
I see Courtney saying, I saw some of the early stages. It was still really intimidating. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, okay.
It was still very dressy, because I was at the Laguna stuff like years ago when it was small, when we could be at a Laguna or be at a Disney World type of thing. That's when it was getting like wildly big. But it still different energy is what I'll say. It was just, there was still I don't know if I could talk to that person feel, if that makes sense. Whereas here we felt very, I don't know if you guys felt that about anybody. Like I had no problem going up and talking to anybody the whole weekend. Like it didn't even faze me to say hi.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I think we can like we know what that feels like to not have that, and we will protect that. Like I think we'll all advocate to make sure we protect that here, because we know what it felt like on the other side of that. So,
Jamie gave us these awesome jackets. How awesome. And then the towel, the blanket. She didn't have to do that. It was lovely. It was actually really nice. We actually were like sat in a circle together and just talked and stuff like that. So it was good. It was a good way for all of us on this team to actually get to know us.
yeah, and then Lindsay's showing they gifted us a backpack, and Kim's got the backpack, and then Lindsay's got the the faux Stanley, the lead-free Stanley. And Kim, show the bottom of your jacket.
So we each on the bottom of the jacket is our fake name that we signed up with.
We don't know, when we were first, like before we had fully transitioned, the first month or few weeks, when a lot of us were here, is we had a fake name, just to protect our anonymity while we were transitioning. So Kim had Kim Peters. Did you show yours, Coco?
I'm trying to, but this is my Friday night stage name, Coco Briggs.
So we thought it would be fun to like memorialize that. Like it drove the company crazy. It wasn't our goal to drive the company crazy, but they were like, "Who is Kim Peters? Is that Kim Lima? Or who is Coco Briggs?" It was just a few weeks of kind of mayhem. It was so funny, but I'm like, well, I know who everyone is. So someone actually at one point, I think Kelly made me draw her a diagram. She was like, I need a diagram. You need to write who's who. And I'm like, no, this is private, confidential information. She goes, I have to know who's who.
Be patient, soon enough.
I was like, no, what if that piece of paper gets leaked, Kelly? And she's like, it won't. It's just for me.
You're like, you have no idea.
Oh, and they didn't seat us. I was telling Sarah about like how we used to get seated at Beachbody, and she was like horrified. I was like, that was like my first introduction is like, if you were a diamond, you got to sit in the front row. I was like, and she's like, what? So yeah.
Well, and then she asked too, she was like, well, what happened if you like didn't achieve that the next time? They're like, well, you got moved to the stands, to the bleachers, the nosebleeds. She was like,
nosebleeds.
She was like unhinged.
Sarah Jensen
Yes,
was?
Sarah, yeah.
Oh, I know, I think about it now and I'm like, I think some of my trauma came from those freaking tables with our names on them. Like,
because your seatmate knew what you were missing the next year.
Yeah, because it was all alphabetical. So I always sat between the same two people. But anyway, it was all fun all around. We had such a good time. We'll see each other again in just a few weeks, the end of April. So our month and a half, was it a month and a half? Yeah, like 5-6 weeks we'll be in Maui together. There is still, you guys have all month. We have all month to earn that trip. I will say, I'm going to let everyone know, if you earn it for one, you're sharing a room with someone. So if you didn't know that, now you do. So if you don't want to share a room with whoever they give you a roommate to, then boogie this month and earn it for 2. But I thought that was, I'm like, you guys should let people know that the trip for 1, you're getting matched up roomie style, but which is fine. Like we just said, we all shared that. Actually, Allison, Jessica, Lanier, and I shared three people in our king bed at the retreat place. Rita, that won't shock you, but but and it was super cozy. So it's fun to have roommates and bed buddies that, you know, you get fun memories, and you usually get the case of the giggles late at night or something. So, but and then we do have we usually are doing 2 training calls a month, and it's been the second, and I think we're looking at the second and fourth Thursday generally. So the next one we have scheduled right now is the 14th of March at noon EST, and it'll be inviting to the opportunity. So you can put that on your calendar. I'll make the event in the team page tomorrow probably. And then last week we just had one last Thursday. What did we talk about? I'm blanking.
The launch.
Launch, different ways to launch. It was really good.
Yeah.
So, and those will continue to live in that document that's pinned in the featured section. There's a document with all the recordings of the training. So it's a really great place to, if you finish your knowledge center stuff, if you finish formulator calls, to go through that document and like do the fill in any holes you might have with training. But we'll do inviting to the opportunity on the 14th. And so if anybody feels like, hey, I feel like I could offer something as a leader to that call, or I'd like to train on that and lead, like everyone's invited to that. And we can call those lunch and learns or whatever we want to call them. But so we'll continue to have those. The Thursdays seem to be the best time that the bulk of us leaders have like that overlapping window in our time. So I know it's not always ideal for people who work during the day, but it's the best time we found in our busy, our many schedules to really be able to show up together and co-lead together. So they're always recorded. They're always live streamed into the team page, and they're a really great way to learn. The goal of all of them is to show multiple ways of doing all of these things so that you can have a really wide breadth of knowledge on what this could look like for you. And then your next step is to go wring out the sponge and try. So see what works for you and what doesn't. But okay, I think that was all we have for tonight. Anything anyone else wants to add before we hop off? Okay. Good night. See you soon. Bye.